Welcome back to Johnny Ray's Backwoods Guns. Doing a little reloading video tonight for my YouTube channel, Reload with Johnny Ray. I'm going to do it on the 300 Blackout. Okay guys, this gun got real popular. You take a 30 caliber barrel, put it on your AR-15 223 lower, uses the same bolt group, same trigger, everything. You just got to change the barrel and you're shooting 30 caliber off a 223 piece of brass. So I'm going to show you how I build it. Last thing you want to do is go out and buy a box of this stuff. All right, we can build it better and cheaper. So stick around, I'll show you how to do it. All right guys, as always, I go to my loading manuals to try to figure out a load. My Sierra loading manual didn't have these 155 grain tip Match King bullets in it. So I thought I'd check the Hornady, the Nozzler, and of course it's got 140 grain bullets. And what I was trying to do, I'm going to use 296 powder. So I was trying to check the case feel. See how this is 16 grain is 101%, 15 grain 94%, 14 grain 88%. I like to try to stay away from compressed loads. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to get right in there about 15 grain. So let's shut that book. Let's go to this book. Hornady got 155 grain ELD matches. These tend to me really resemble these new TMKs. So I went to 296 powder, slide over here, 12/7 your low load, 13/8 a little higher, 14/9 a little higher, and 16 grains max. I think what I'm going to do is load 15 grain. I think 15 grain will be like a 91-92% case feel. And I like a 90% case feel. One of the big reasons is I can identify it when I'm loading, and I can check it and make sure I powdered the case and whatnot. So I'm going to use 225 case overall length. I'm going to use these 30 cal tip Match King Sierras. I really want to shoot these out 300 black. A lot of people tell me their 300 black's not real accurate. I'm going to try to prove them wrong, show them that this 300 Blackout can shoot 200-yard groups. I'm going to use Winchester 296 powder. I'm going to use 7.5 small rifle bench primers. In my mind, these are the best primers out there. They're just kind of hard to find. I'm going to use 300 Blackout small base die to size it. I'm going to use my 308 competition dies to seat it. Of course, I'm going to use the 30 caliber seat and plug and the 30 caliber bullet guide. I'm going to neck size it with these neck dies from Lee. And of course I'm going to decap with my universal decapping die from Lee. My flaring die and my crimping die. So let's get on to loading, guys. Well, like I said, let's get started. I'm going to use my seat die, so I might as well set it up. I'll show you how to set it up. I had this set up for 22 caliber guide and a 22 caliber seating plug. I'm going to jerk those out of there. I went over this the other night, my last video. A lot of people, they come in my shop. First of all, guys, let me explain a little bit about my YouTube videos, okay? I started this YouTube channel because so many people come in my shop and I help them reload. They had a question here and there. And I'd say, look, unless you got 10 or 15 minutes, I can't explain it all, okay? So I said, you know what, I'll just make a video and put it on my Facebook. So after I made 15, 20 videos, everyone said, why don't you start a YouTube channel? And when we're loading at home, if we need to catalog, we need to index something, look something up, we can just go to one of your videos. So I don't actually think my YouTube channel is going to be like Hicko 45 or Iraqi Veteran 88. But my customers tend to like it. I've probably got 150, 200 customers that do a lot of reloading. So it helps my customers, it helps me. So that's the whole goal of this. Anyway, let's get back to taking this seating plug out of this competition die. Just pull it out. That's a 22 caliber. I'm going to use the 30 caliber because we're seating these 155 grain 308 bullets. So I just tighten up my seating die in top of my competition die. It's set. On Sierra's website, they say that these new tip Match King bullets, sometimes these seating plugs are grinded into the bullet and leave it a mark. So they offered a suggestion. They said to take your a bullet, maybe something you're going to use for sighting in a sighter, and chuck it into your drill press. You don't have to chuck it in tight. Put a little bit of polishing compound on this. Just about out of this damn polishing compound. Got a fresh tube of polishing compound. Like I said, just put a little polishing compound on the bullet that you're going to seat. I'm going to seat these tip Match Kings. Take your seat plug, run it in there, and just spin your drill. If you use the exact bullet that you're going to seat, it's going to get the exact angles inside your seating plug just right. So just run this thing about 60 to 90 seconds, and that should polish it up good enough. I actually will run it 30, 60 seconds, and then I'll vac it and go the opposite direction. That should, that'll probably be enough. Now let's clean this out real good. As always, I like to use my good old air compressor. That'll blow it all out real good. Give it another wiping. Alright. Drop your guide. Make sure it says 30 caliber. Make sure you can read it. Drop it right up so you can read it right in. Put your seating plug on there. Now we'll adjust this, the right seating, the housing right, and the seating height when we go to seating. Now, Lee is real proud of these neck sizing Collet dies. I'll show you a little fix I do on these too. These Collets squeeze around the neck of your brass and size it. When you run the brass up, that catches on the top of your die, and it just squeezes it. Of course, I can't do it with my hand good enough, but the problem is you've got to put a little grease on this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to grease this die up. You don't need a lot. A little bit on the outside of that. A little bit on the inside of that. I put a little bit around this too because it's going to run up and down the housing of your die. So drop that in. Turn your die the right way up. Drop that in. Drop that on top. Now that's almost ready. Now take your mandrel. All right. Let's go back to the drill. Get that bullet out of there. I'm going to check this in my drill press. I'm going to take some 1500 grit paper and just smooth that up real fast. Same process, about 30, 60, 90 seconds, whatever you feel you need. After you use this, you'll get little nicks and scratches and maybe dirt and whatnot. This just shines it up real good so you get that neck size just perfect. That way you get that run out down to about 0, okay? We want the run out as low as possible. So now I'm going to drop my mandrel down, top off this, and my Collet die is ready. So my neck sizing die, my Collet die. Now let's get my scales ready. I don't mean to repeat last night or the other night video, but I had a lot of questions. A lot of people come in my shop and ask me about, they say I don't show everything I do every time. So I thought, well, I'll get a little more extent, deeper, and go over more details. Well, guys, this is bubble level. These powder throwers, they are very sensitive, all right? And when you read in the instruction manual, the first thing, the most important thing they tell you, let it warm up 10-15 minutes and level it off. I can always tell if my scale's not level because my scale starts drifting and I start getting inconsistent charges. I've been checking one scale with the other scale. So you can see that's level. Let's get my little RCBS. There we go. That's damn near close. Whenever I just need a tiny bit, I'll take a business card and throw under one of the corners, and that usually levels it up enough. There we go. That's dead on balls accurate for me. All right, now let's throw some weights on here and see how consistent it is. This is a 2. Let's switch it to grains. There we go. 2 grams. Here's another 2. Try to get it right in the center of your tray so you get a good read. Let's see what the Hornady says. Now, let me switch it to 199, 3.99. So that's reading about a 1/10 of a grain off, but that's all right. I'm going to throw one here, and I'm going to confirm on this scale, and I'm going to trickle up my charge later. So I'll show you how to do that. I calibrated my scales earlier, but I just wanted to show you how to do that. All right, I had another question, okay, guys? The other night I weighed my brass, I checked my length, I checked my shoulder length, I checked my ogive length, and I weighed my brass, I weighed my bullets, and they were a 1/10 of a grain off. They were 100 thousandths longer than the other one. Someone says, why aren't they always the same? Well, guys, take a look at this. It's a little tiny Post-it note. Look at this scale. I'm going to lay this Post-it note on this scale. A Post-it note weighs 2.1 grain, okay? Just that simple little Post-it note. So if you're just 1 or 2 grain off on a finished product, when you put primers, brass, bullets, powder all in one, that's damn good, all right, guys? If all of them's within that, that's phenomenal. All right, same thing with here. You know, put it on. I mean, hell, guys, that's crazy, all right? Now let's look at this. Let's just measure how thick a piece of paper is, this Post-it note is. I'm pushing tight. That's 2.5. That's how thick. So if you're 2.5 thousandths longer or shorter, that's damn good, guys. All right? I mean, hell, that's a piece of paper. Most people don't realize what a little piece of paper, how much it weighs or how thick it is. So if you get all your brass, all your finished bullets, the overall length and the weight within 1 or 2 grain, 1 or 200 thousandths, that's damn good, guys. Anyway, let's go on to the next part. All right, guys. First thing first, we're going to take some, I'm only going to cut 3 or 4 of these for you. I'm going to cut the 223 brass down and make it, shape it, form it, trim it into 300 Blackout. So first of all, you want to sort your head stamps. These are FC head stamps. All right. There's a lot of different head stamps. If you get a piece of brass, check the neck thickness. All right. It needs to be below 13 or you can't use it for 300 Blackout brass. All these Federal cartridges are 11. I think Wolf's big. It's like 14 or 15. There's 2 or 3 that won't work, and there's a whole bunch that will. Just make sure that you sort your head stamps and you get one that's below 13 or 12. I like these. They're 11. Lake City's 11. So anyway, I got one of these little jigs, one of these Harbor Freight saws, And back to safety. Guys, there's not much of a safety guard on this, so don't cut your damn finger off, all right? But I got one of those little $9.99 jigs off eBay, and I had to shim it up just a little bit because it doesn't have a micrometer setting, but it's no big deal. I took a little rubber gasket and carved it down a little bit, glued it in there. So I'm just going to click it on, hit the safety, trim it. Okay, I'm going to trim all 5 of these, and I'll move around to the back and trim it from the back. But you want to make sure you get a good grip, make sure you back it into the back of your jig so you trim the right amount off. All right, hang on just a second. Guys, I'm behind the chop saw right now just so the camera can get it real good. Just click it on. Just make sure that your head stamp's back against the back part of the jig. Click it on. I don't know if that's incredibly smart or incredibly stupid, but let's do one more. If you can see, there's that little rubber gasket that I glued in there because these were cutting way too long and it took me forever to trim the brass. So I took care of that shit. All right, here we go. All right, guys, I'm only going to do 5 of these. Let's go on to shaping. Okay, we're going to use this lead decapper, knock the primers out. I haven't knocked the primers out of these yet. Just run it down until it touches your ram. You're ready. It's got a primer in it. These lead decappers, they don't do any kind of sizing, so you don't have to worry about lubing. Run it up, knock your primer out. Primer's gone. We're going to size on a small base die next, but we're going to knock all the primers out. All right. Okay, did you see that, guys? My decapping pin came out the top. A lot of times on these lead, it didn't knock my primer out. Sometimes they get loose, whatnot. That's an easy fix. Get your 3/4 wrench, grab a hold of your die. Take a small, tiny hammer. Just pop that right back down in there. As long as it's flat, you're good. Stabilize that. Tighten that decapping pin up. You don't want to tighten it too tight because that's your fail safe. If you hit a burden primer, it drives up instead of breaking your decapping pin off. So, but you want it tight. All right, let's try it again. That one needs deprimed. Put it in your shell holder, run it up. There you go, knocked it right out. There's another one. There you go. All right, guys, let's lube these up and size them. Here we go. We want the finished. I'm going to use these RCBS small base 300 Blackout die to shape this, but I'm going to twist it a little bit, put my twist on it. You want this brass. You want this to end up looking like that. So we're going to turn that into that. First off, setting this die up. I already screwed it down in here and got the proper depth, but I'm going to show you something, guys. This is RCBS small base die. Okay, this is a RCBS shell holder. Got it? This is a H16. That's a Hornady shell holder. See if I can show you that it'll focus in on that. It says H16. The reason you want to use the right shell holder with when you're sizing, especially small base sizing, because the shelf height and the thickness of these shell holders are different from different companies. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do, Actually, this Hornady's 100 thousandths taller than this. So I'm going to size one with this first. So put your shell holder in, run your ram up, bring this down till it touches. Back this up. They said give it a full turn. I gave it about a turn and a half. Now, everyone talks about cam overfilling, camming it. That's just technical jargon for take all the waller and slop out of where the shell holder is hitting the ram and the gap between the top of the shell holder and the bottom of the die. So as long as you get a good solid seat and you'll feel it hit hard, you'll know it's there. All right. To size these brass and get this brass right, we're going to trim that, but make sure you use a lot of lube, okay, guys? Because we're trying to resize this, reshape it. Insert it in your shell holder, run it up, bring it back down, okay? Give it a little twist, run it up, bring it back down. All right, here's my point. I've got a Hornady comparator here. I'm going to zero that out, and I'm going to measure my shoulder. If you notice, that says 1072. All right. Stay with me here. Let's change shell holders. Same process. Let's do it twice. Up, twist, up. All right. Let's measure the shoulder again. See what we get. I think you can see right there, proof's in the pudding, guys. A taller shell holder is going to knock a couple 100 thousandths off. All right, or 1,000. Yep, it knocked 100 thousandths off, 1,000, whichever way you want to call it. Anyway, you want to knock that back down to factory specs, but you don't want to knock it too far, because when it fire forms and you shoot, if it don't seal your throat, your barrel, and get a good seal, the gases will go backwards instead of out the barrel. It'll hurt your actually a tiny bit. It'll smoke up your brass. It'll make your brass look like you're shooting suppressed, and you're really not. But you know, you want, when you're speaking about ultimate accuracy, you want that to fire form to your throat or your chamber real tight, so all the gases go down the barrel with the right behind the bullet. All right, let's get the size in all this. I'm going to throw this RCBS RCBS shell holder back in here, because this is the RCBS sizing die. I want to get it all right. Once again, up. Guys, you want to learn how to load 300 Blackout? There's two guys on the internet that are phenomenal at loading 300 Blackout. You got Elvis Ammo. He does all kind of crazy stuff with powder coating bullets. And you got Johnny's Reloading Bitch. He does all kinds of range tests, load development, ladder tests, primer tests, bullet tests, different powders, cold weather, hot weather. Real good guy. Fortune Cookie 45 Long Coat. He does some phenomenal stuff too. These guys really set the bar high when it comes to reloading and breaking stuff down so everyone understands it. Last one, guys. All right, let's go to let's trim this, prep this brass. All right, guys. All right, now we're going to trim my brass. I've set up these Lee trimming gauges into my cutting stone, and I screw it right into the top of my Lyman press, my Lyman case prep machine. So all we do is flip it on, run it down, hold it, let it cut it. And guys, I got to tell you, these trimming gauges from Lee, they are so good about getting the trim just right. Yeah, these Lee trimming gauges, they trim this brass just about perfect. You want to be under 1368, 1355. I'll trim these real fast. One 356, 1355. All right, guys, I'm done trimming, so let's get this trimming head out of here, and then we'll finish the brass. I want to set this up to get the factory crimp, the military crimp out of this brass. This video is going to take forever, so I'm just going to prep 2 of these. First things first, I reformed that primer pocket using that military decrimper. Then I use the brush here to clean my primer pocket. Then I chafe the inside, guys, real good. Now you want to chafe these real good. I'll tell you about it later, but it helps the consistency. It helps your bullets get seated. And then when you deburr, if you do that really good, when you crimp, factory crimp, it really makes it nice and smooth. Let's do another one. Take that factory, that military crimp right out of there. It's gone. Clean that, brush that primer pocket out. Let's clean it up. See how clean that gets it. Chafe the mouth. And deburr the outside. You chafe the mouth so the bullet seats down in it really good. And then you deburr the outside so you get a really nice crimp. Okay, I'll finish the rest of this brass off camera, but you can see it looks real good. So let's go to the next step. A lot of times, a lot of people say I'll skip steps. Sometimes I do, guys. This is a primer pocket uniformer. All right, this is a primer pocket. It sets the depth. This is just a simple brush. What I want to do is I'm just going to do 2. Run this in, and you want to get all the little when they forge those primer pocket holes, they punch them. Okay, they punch them. They don't drill them. They punch them. So there's a little bit on the inside of your brass. So you just want to smooth it all off. That way, you when your primer goes off, you get an even distribution of that flame through that primer hole. So you just got to lightly do it, guys. You don't have to dig down and take out 200,000, 300,000 worth of brass. Just lightly do it. Now take this depth tool and just stick it in and just twist it around, and it'll trim the inside of your primer pocket, your primer web, the right depth, so they all your primers seat good. Those were probably right, perfect, but never hurts to check it out. Now after you trim, you deburr, you chafe, you uniform your primer pocket holes, you get little pieces of brass in there. So I take a little brush, try to brush it out, and then I pull out my secret weapon. All right, guys. My secret weapon is my air compressor. All right, I just blow them out good from both ends. All right, my brass is prepped. We're ready to finish the rest. Now, I mentioned this the other night on my video. I'll mention it again. This is the Richard Lee 2nd edition modern reloading book. If you recognize this die, that's the one I was showing you that I prepped a minute ago. They just think this die is their everything to them. All right, this is they're just really proud of it. And you can see the die body, the collet, the flange that goes around that squeezes it, and there's your main mandrel, and there's your top. Just like I showed you how we took it apart. Now, I want to check the neck real fast. I don't want to squeeze too hard. Maybe I ought to zero my scale first, my calipers. All right. Says 0.327. All right. Let's do both of them. 0.328, 327. Just according to how hard you squeeze. Make sure you try to get a good size on that neck. 328. Let's go with 3275, 328. Now let's get this small base die out of here. That's what we sized with just a second ago. All right, my Lee Collet die. All right, Lee says run it down. Okay, a lot of guys when they reform brass, like they make Grendel, they make Creedmoor, if they don't want to go buy it, after they shape it, they have to go back and neck turn their brass. So it's the neck has a correct thickness. Your neck wall has the correct neck thickness. Lord, that's a hell of a lot to say. Anyway, Lee doesn't make any kind of neck turning tools. All right, they think that this die, if you use this die, you don't need to neck turn. What they say to do, run it where it comes down and touches your ram. And then you can see I indexed it with a little black mark. On any dies or any presses that aren't Lee's, they say to give it 2 full turns. There's 1. There's 2. All right. Now, I don't want to get a lot of lube down in my neck because I'm going to throw powder in a minute. So I use this Lyman dry case neck lube just for this, okay? Run it up just like I did the small base die a minute ago. I spin it, run it one more time. There's 1. Lord Almighty. All right. Down, spin it. Now, let's get that powder off there, that dry lube. If you don't have an air compressor hooked up to your reload bench, guys, you don't know what you're missing. This thing is a godsend. Anyway, let's remeasure these necks, see if that tightened it down any. A minute ago we was at 328, 327. Now we're at 325, 326. If you squeeze real hard, you can bend that neck. You don't want to bend that neck, okay? Because Lee says this makes helps your concentracy, okay? When you seat your bullet down in the center of your brass, if you got the right neck tension, the right pressure, and it helps you control run out. So that's why I like using these lead neck collet size dies. All right, let's go on to the next step. All right, as you can see, I put in my expander flaring die, and I set it. I drop the primer in my primer cup. I'm going to prime this on the press, run this up, give it a little flare. That's all I want, just a little flare. Okay, I sized that neck real nice, and then I flared that. Of course, remember I de-chafed real good, so the bullet would fit right down in there real nice and concentrically. So let's do the other one. We'll just do 2 here. Prime, up, flare. There you have it. Nice piece of prime brass and a nice little flare on there. Okay, I'll do the rest off camera and I'll come back and we will powder these. Okay guys, I use this powder dropper a lot now since I got the straw working, throwing. I leveled up real good, I use a straw. But you don't have to use a $200 powder dropper. Okay guys, you don't have to have the Hornady concentric tool. You don't have to have the neck wall thickness tool. You don't need any of that fancy stuff. You can actually just drop your funnel on your scale, take a lead dipper. I'm shooting for 15 grains. Might help if I zero my scale first. 0. All right. Shooting for 15. That's about 7.5. This should be real close to 15. Well, hell, it is 15. I got real lucky. Let's throw that. That was pretty easy. Get a load. Let's try it again. 7. I'll throw this a little low. I won't level off this scoop. A lot of guys used to reload with these scoops, not even use scales. All right, that's 14. Then just sit here and trickle until you get up to 15. These scales aren't real fast. A couple more kernels. Give it a second. There we go. 15. So you don't need a lot of fancy stuff, expensive stuff, if you don't want to spend the money. But the way I like to do it, I set my powder dropper on 14.8. That way, you know, these powder droppers are plus or minus 1. That way, if it throws 14.7, 14.8, 14.9, still going to give me a green light. And I'm going to use this second scale to confirm anyway. So we'll see if it gives us a green light. Green light. Set it on this scale. 14.6. See, these Hornady scales, whenever you got a motor and you got vibration going on, they're not real accurate. That's why I always confirm on a second. And then I just trickle up. It's easier to trickle up than it is to take out. Just give your scale a little bit of time to catch up. Of course, they don't, like I said, they don't register 1 or 2 kernels, more like 4, 5, 6, 7 kernels at a time. Just got to be patient. Guys, the secret to good groups is using the exact same amount of powder. A little bit more, and we should be there. I'm going to throw these 2. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Okay, and a lot of times I'll lift off, set it back down, reconfirm it, lift off, set it back down, give it a second, see what happens. Sometimes you don't get centered up. Now I'll just, in reality, it's probably 14.99 it was, so we just had to give it 1/100 of a tenth of a thousandth, so you know, whatever the hell. Lift up, set back down. All right, that's enough of that stuff. All right, you get where I'm going with this. Just throw on your first one, reconfirm on your second one, and trickle up. All right, guys, I'll powder the rest of these off camera, and let's get to seating bullets. Okay, guys, can you see that powder? I know you think, boy, that's not a 90% case fill. All right, it's kind of hard to see. I got shitty lights. All right, but I seated one of the bullets. You take this bullet, set it right beside there. You can see how far it's going to come down into the case. It's going to come right about there. And that powder was right about there. So you've got about a 90% case fill. And that's what you want, okay? You want a 90 or higher, I think. It's easier to identify, plus it's easier when you point your rifle, you know, your rifle, that powder is setting against the primer. But when you point it, load it in your rifle and point it, of course that powder is going to fall forward. If you're in a tree stand pointing down, then that powder might all roll to the front and be laying against the base of your bullet. You want that powder as close to that primer as possible so it can start igniting. All right, that's enough of that. Let's seat these bullets. Run it up till it engages your bullet guide. Drop it in and let your bullet seat and plug. Push your bullet down. Let's check the 2245. I was shooting for 225. So I'm just a little bit off. Hell, I think I'm just going to leave right there at 2245. One more time till it engages your bullet guide. Drop your bullet in. Now that bullet guide is centering that right on top of that brass. And you remember we crimped that brass. So since we crimped it, that bullet, your bow tail is going to help seat. But I like crimping it so it really centers it. So it keeps it nice and center. Okay? One more time. There you go. Drop it in. Seat. Seat. All right, now let's crimp these. I'll do the rest off camera. Let's get my crimping die in here. Lee 300 Blackout crimping die. I've already got this set. What I like to do is I stand up and look down in the crimping die, make sure the collet closes. Since I flared that, I really want to crimp it. Let's get it just a little bit tighter. All right, guys, that's, to me, that's perfect. Okay, I didn't leave a little tiny, if you crimp too tight, sometimes you leave a tiny ring. That didn't leave a ring, and where I deburred really good, it's real nice and smooth. I'll run these through, and then, hell, we're done. I want to test my ammo. I want to test the concentricity, the weight, and the O-job length, the shoulder length. I just like testing it, looking at it, see how well I build it. We'll get to that next. All right, guys, let's compare this ammo. Best way I know how to compare it. Let's check the weight. 256.7. 256.6. 256.6. All right, let's check the shoulder. 1066.5. 1067. 106.8. It's real good, consistent right there. Let's check our O-job. One 496. 1496. 14965. All right, guys, let's check our concentricity. I'll try to zero that so you can tell. Should be plus or minus 1. Or if it goes to 2, you just divide it. I don't have it. Going to go 1, 2. So that's actually, if you put the 0 in the middle, you'll see what I'm talking about when I say plus or minus 1. See, it goes negative 1, well, positive 1. Now it's going to swing back negative 1. Hornady says if it swings less than 2 thousandths, it's good. Check this one. Plus 1. That's that's a half each way. That's a damn good piece of brass, piece of projectile right there, guys. That's dead on. That's plus 1. That's a half each way. That's damn good, guys. I could do it all, but there you go. There's 3 good ones. Just for the hell of it, let's take this came out of this factory box. 300 Remington, 130 grains. I don't have 150 grains, but we'll still check it. Let's check the concentracy on it first. That's around 3, 1.5 one way, 1 the other way. It's about 2.5. I think they got lucky, but oh, that's 5 or 6 out. Look at that. I'm telling you, this factory ammo is shitty ammo. I don't know any way else to say it, but it's shitty. All right, let's weigh it. 232.6. 233.3, 7/10 off. Let's see what the shoulder height is. 107.1. 107.1. Well, they got the shoulders right on the damn brass. Let's see what the road jibe looks like. 1490. 1510. Hell, they're 20 thousandths off. Like I said, guys, we can build better ammo. We can build cheaper. We can spend less and build better. These were built with those Barnes TX bullets, whatever the hell they're called. TSX bullets, Barnes. TSX bullets. So this is premium ammo. This just isn't old Remington core locks, okay? This is their premium ammo. You can see head to head, we can build it better. We can build it faster. We can build it bigger, stronger. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching my video. I'm going to try to get out the range tomorrow and shoot this. If I do shoot it, I'll try to tag on a range test. If I don't shoot it, if it's too cold, raining, snowing, whatever the hell, then I'll just do it later on in the year. I'll catalog, index all this, and finish it off camera. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time. And if you get a chance, if you like this video, subscribe, like, share, leave me a comment. I'll try to answer it. And if I don't know the answer to it, if you got a question, I'll dig into all my books and I'll figure it out. You guys have a great weekend. Alright guys, this is a concentricity tester, and this tests, after you make your bullets, it tests your run out. If you notice, this goes 0 to 100. Okay, this is for neck wall thickness. This goes 0 to 50. So this is twice as sensitive as this is, okay? So you just drop a piece of brass in, what we just made. Try to zero your scale and just move it real tight. That's jumping about, let's try to get that in the center so you can read it. That's moving about 3, which means it's about 1.5 plus or minus 1.5. Okay, that's damn good, alright? That piece of brass is very concentric. Let's try this other one we just made. Same thing. That's only moving 3. That one's only moving 2 marks. Back and forth. So that's a half each way, plus or minus a half. So that's very concentric, okay? After we build our ammo, we'll test all of them after they're done. All right, let's get to priming and powdering and seating and crimping.